Hello, History 120 students. Welcome to WLS 1 and 2. The code also indicates that there are some dual enrolled students in the course, so welcome to you guys. We had a large number of students enroll for our late start classes, our 14-week as opposed to 16-week classes. Those of you that are in 16-week classes have got through the first 2 weeks. Late start means we'll do this course in 14 weeks. So what happens is that most of the modules you have about a week to complete, but there'll be a couple places where we're going to have to squeeze in 2 modules. So the time frame is a little more condensed. And the family is behind me in search of a missing Nintendo DS game. So you may hear some chatter. They even get a cameo by somebody here, and that's okay. So welcome to the class. A lot of you signed up, so we opened up the second section, and I think both are almost full. That's great. And I hope everybody hangs in there through the way. I will tell you, it starts off fast. Don't let that overwhelm you. I will work with you, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on in the video. There is, if some of you have already looked at the course, the Canvas course, there is a welcome video already up. That is the welcome video that I made for last fall, 2019. And I'm going to leave that up because there's a lot of information about me in that video and my background. And I'll just let you refer to that if you want to know more about me. Most of the information in that video about the course is accurate, but there are some things that have changed. And so anything that I say in that video that might conflict with what I say here or conflict with what's in the syllabus, disregard what I say in that video and go with what I say here or what's in the syllabus. Hope that makes sense. But I, being lazy, I guess, didn't want to remake the whole video and talk about me. All that stuff that's the same, and just wanted to get to the things that were pertinent for us this fall. And I'm just going to post this as an announcement, and so you'll receive this or should receive it through your email as well. And I'm making this video on Sunday, September 6th afternoon. The course doesn't start officially until Tuesday, September 8th. But I know people like to jump in early and kind of get a head start. If you're not getting in here until Tuesday, that's okay. But I wanted this up for people that are trying to get a little bit ahead. And I have been working for the past several days on getting things updated. I've taught this class several times now, and I think logic would say, well, there's not a whole lot to do. Those of you that might be considering going into education, there's always more to do. And even though, and I approached this semester this way, I thought, oh, I've done this many times, you're always going to find things that need to be updated, need to be fixed, that you can improve on, and kind of got tied up and working on some of that stuff the last few days, so didn't get this out as quick as I want. Apologies for that. But just want to go over some things with you as we head into the class. And so everything is now up in regards to the syllabus in particular. The syllabus is updated. One of the things that kind of slowed me down in regards to the syllabus was updating the course schedule, the tentative course schedule, and that's a key word that I'll talk about in just a moment. But that always takes a little bit of time to figure out how to make that work, especially in these 14-week classes, to figure out where I'm going to kind of squeeze in some things in that narrowed down time frame. As I said, it's a tentative course schedule, and I say that because that means that there could be possible changes, and I always title it that way. And mainly, that is, I want to leave it that way in case I need to make changes. And if I make changes, I'm always going to make changes that are going to be in your favor. And that's one reason I don't like to get too locked into a syllabus or policies or things like that, because sometimes circumstances, we certainly found that out last spring, require us to make some changes and hopefully those are in the benefit of the students. And that's always going to be my intent when I make changes, is that it was going to benefit you. So just be aware of that. There are some possible changes I'm already pondering in regards to the outline of the course and some of the assignments and things. There are a number of discussion boards in the course, and I may replace some of those with what I call 3-2-1 activities. I use those extensively after everything shut down for COVID back in the spring, and it proved very effective. I've used those in my high school classes. They're a simple way to get feedback and to determine where you're at with things, and to determine what you're taking away from the class. Also use some more called fact, question, response activities. So I may replace some discussion boards with those, or I might also replace some of the quizzes with those. And again, I think that'll simplify things for you and maybe cut down your workload just a bit. The document-based activities that are in the course will not be replaced. I really like those, and we will keep those. I might also modify how the tests are formatted. Right now, I am using kind of the standard format that I usually use in the classes, but again, I modified that significantly for the last couple tests last spring because of just the unusual world. 3 words that I think are key for everybody this semester. I heard them used a good deal last spring. Unfortunately, I haven't heard them used quite as much this fall, and I think they still apply because we're just in a difficult circumstance, and everything's challenging, everything's more difficult for everybody, and I want to be tuned into that, and I want to be responsive to that. But those 3 words are flexibility, patience, and grace. And I want to do everything I can to extend those to you. Even though this is an online class, we know that the world we live in with COVID is ever changing. And even though it's online, we could encounter some changes along the way because of that. And so just be aware that we might be doing that. Another key word that's being used a lot on campus this semester is pivot. The pivot won't be as big for us because we're already online. But everything, as I said, is more complicated. I understand that. I appreciate that. And so I just want to be cognizant and work with you in that regard. So my goal is to offer you flexibility, patience, and grace. In addition to the challenges that COVID has created for us, and just the fact that it makes everything more complicated. And I realize that has impacts on your ability to do classwork. But in addition to that, we live in a world right now where there is a lot going on. There are a lot of issues out there, and social issues, political issues. It's an election year. It's a very tense election year. A lot of emotions and feelings out there, and all of those things connect directly to this class. And in fact, to me, one of the biggest values of the study of history is understanding the world you're in and understanding how we got where we're at. And so we're not going to avoid those things. And so we need to be aware that those are going to come up. And I've always had very good luck with my OTC classes and my online classes and students handling those things in a mature and responsible manner. And I suspect we'll have the same experience here. I would encourage you to go back on the syllabus page and review the Netiquette Ground Rules for Online Discussion handout that's posted there, link there, and also the video on discussion board etiquette. I think those are geared towards discussion boards, but could be geared to any type of format where we're sharing our thoughts and ideas with others. And discussion boards will be the primary way we'll do that in this course. A couple of things I will emphasize from those: the Netiquette handout, one of the statements on there is to respect diversity. OTC is very committed to that, and I am incredibly committed to that, and I want to do everything I can. And it is a multicultural world, and please do not use language that might be offensive or could be construed as such towards others, racist, sexist, Heterosexist comments are unacceptable, as are derogatory or sarcastic jokes that might be directed at religious beliefs, disabilities, age, etc. One of the things I would emphasize there is, and in middle college we emphasize this a lot with our students, is understanding that you need to be aware of the differences between intent and interpretation, and you need to think about how others might interpret what it is that you are sharing or speaking, and be cognizant of that, and take some time to consider and process that before you say what it is that you're going to say or share. That document also uses the term no flaming. Indicates that criticism must be constructive, well articulated, no tantrums, no rants, no profanity. This is an academic environment, which there's an expectation of higher order language and professional language. So I think that's important. I'll say a little more about that in a moment. And one of the things that document, one of the last items on there, states that you can't unring the bell. And I think that is a very good statement. Once it's said, it's said. And it's out there, and you are creating a perception of yourself in the things that you say in the course. And it is often difficult to undo what you have said, or to undo the impact of the things that you say. So be aware of that. And I know that you are all great individuals and great people. The video, a couple things from it that I would emphasize is that it emphasizes say what you mean without being mean. And I think that's a great statement. So just, again, there's a way to express yourself if you might not agree with somebody without being mean about it. I think it's also important to be open to hearing others' perspectives. And I think something that challenges us in our society is that it's okay to change your opinion on things. And a lot of the things that we will talk about in history, everybody sees history as very cut and dry. I tell my high school students all the time, this is not math class. And I hope when you get through the course, you'll understand that better. I also emphasize that, one of the interesting things about history is that when an event occurs, that people 100, 150, 200, so forth down the road will better understand that event than the people who actually were there and lived it and experienced it, because more information becomes available to us, more perspectives, more ideas. And oftentimes that can change our viewpoint on things as we learn more about things. So I emphasize that it's okay for your perspective to change. And I would also say that we all have biases. I have biases. You'll probably pick up on some of those. But one of the keys is being aware of your biases and aware of how they shape you and direct you, and being conscious of when those biases might be influencing yourself in a negative way. And if any of you ever perceive that I am acting in a way that's negative because of bias, please bring that to my attention, because I want to correct that. And I want to be aware of that. But the video is getting a little longer than I anticipated here, but just to wrap up, again, along those lines of changing, being open to other ideas and changing your opinions, I've been working my way through a self-paced online course through Gilder Lehrman, which is an organization we'll use some resources from, a course on African-American history since emancipation, and the scholar that is facilitating is a man by the name of Peniel Joseph, who's a professor at the University of Texas. And in one of his presentations, he makes a statement along the lines of that there's a difference between operating in an intellectual setting and in a sectarian setting. And one of the benefits of operating in an intellectual setting is that that things are approached from the perspective of being theories. And if someone has a theory that's different than yours, it's okay to disagree with that. Sectarianism, though, is essentially taking things from the perspective as a religious belief, holding it onto it as if it's a religious belief, and not willing to change and let go of that. And sectarianism is certainly not a bad thing in appropriate places. But when we hold on to many of the things that we hold on to from a sectarian perspective, it becomes difficult and challenging for everybody. And Joseph, again, in the videos, continues and he states that we live in a society where people hold on to ideas as if they were sectarian and religious. And that creates a lot of conflict and tension. Where I'm going with this is we are, in this class, in an intellectual or an academic environment. And it is that because of that, it is an environment where people are going to have different theories and different perspectives, and that's okay. And I also want you to make aware that it's okay if ideas and perspectives change as time goes on. I know that is very true for myself, and I think in studying history, we can see that extensively. One individual that I think is a great illustration of this is if you study Abraham Lincoln very much. He's an individual that his ideas and his theories on things changed immensely over time. And what changed them are life experiences, learning experiences, and exposures. And in fact, what I would hope in this class is that everybody would come out of here with a little different perspective on things than what they had before, because what that tells me is that you've learned. And I'll talk more about that later as we go into the course. But be respectful of others. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. I rambled long enough here. It's going to be a great semester. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I always enjoy my college History 120 online courses. And it's going to be great. And I look forward to working with everybody in the class. And what I find is that as I teach, one of the most rewarding parts about it is that oftentimes I'm the one who ends up learning the most from the experience. So not only do I look forward to working with you, but I also look forward to learning from you. And I will be back in touch with you quite frequently throughout the next 14 weeks. It's going to be a great semester.